5 races. 5 weekends of scratching heads, missed chances, and rising frustration. For Lewis Hamilton, 2025 hadn't just been a slow start, it had been a painful grind. Every time he thought Ferrari had found the magic switch, another race weekend would punch them back to reality. But now, Miami is about to flip the script. Ferrari has finally cracked the code to Hamilton's struggles, and the timing couldn't be sweeter. With upgrades locked, adjustments made, and Hamilton sharper than ever, the stage is set for a massive comeback under the Miami sun. Could this be the weekend where the 7-time champ reminds the world exactly who he is? For months, Hamilton had been wrestling a car that simply refused to behave. The SF25 was quick in flashes, but brutal when it mattered most. One moment it gripped like a beast, the next, it danced on a knife's edge through corners, leaving Lewis second-guessing every move. The real villain? A moody, unpredictable flaw that couldn't generate stable downforce across the gears. Combine that with an aerodynamic imbalance that robbed him of vital confidence at turn-in, and you had a car that even a 7-time world champion struggled to tame. Ferrari knew it couldn't just throw band-aids at the problem. They needed real solutions, not just hope. And finally, they've delivered. The floor has been completely reworked to give Hamilton a more predictable, smoother ride, stabilizing the car's behavior mid-corner, where it used to snap like a crocodile. No more second-guessing, no more mid-corner panic. But they didn't stop there. Ferrari also attacked the side pod design, trimming down the bulky sections that created drag and uneven airflow around the car. The result? Better aerodynamic balance, more consistent grip at the rear, and crucially, a Ferrari that Lewis can trust when he throws it into high-speed corners. Even Hamilton's complaints about the SF25's lack of vertical thrust, the crucial push that keeps the car planted to the tarmac, have been addressed. By tweaking the aero load and fine-tuning how the car rides over bumps and curbs, Ferrari has given Hamilton the fighting tool he's been begging for since round 1. Every little frustration, the unpredictable handling, the squirm under braking, the sudden snap of traction loss, Ferrari has chipped away at them one by one. It's been a test of patience, determination, and old-school Maranello grit. But if the noise coming out of the garage is anything to go by, Hamilton finally has a machine he can lean on, not just to survive a race weekend, but to attack it with full force in Miami. And Ferrari knows there's no time to sit back and admire their work. 2025 isn't waiting for anyone. Their dream of fighting McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes for podiums and victories is slipping through their fingers with every missed opportunity. McLaren might be wobbling, but Red Bull and Mercedes are sharpening their claws too. It's now or never for the prancing horses, and luckily, Maranello isn't snoozing at the wheel. Another aggressive, heavily upgraded SF25 is on its way, ready to roar at Imola. The next few weeks could define Ferrari's season. 2 huge milestones are looming, and one of them is the Spanish Grand Prix, where the new flexible wing rules could shuffle the deck. McLaren might even stumble if the FIA's fresh clampdown tightens their advantage. Opportunity is knocking for Ferrari if they dare open the door. Miami will mark the first step of Ferrari's upgrade journey, but the real fireworks are reserved for Imola. While a few major tweaks might appear in Miami, don't expect any magic tricks just yet. Sprint weekends only allow 1 rushed practice session, barely enough to shake down new parts properly. Race weekends aren't playgrounds for guesswork. Without thorough track data, trying to fine-tune upgrades is like tossing darts blindfolded. Imola, with a full race format and more breathing room, is where Ferrari plans to unleash the big guns, and that's when the real storm could hit. That's why Ferrari knows they can't rely on gut feelings anymore. Objective, cold hard data is now the boss in Maranello. Early whispers suggest the team's first big gamble will be a tighter, sleeker side pod design, a move many fans were shouting for back in winter testing. It's not a magic bullet, but it's a step towards the evolution the SF25 desperately needs. When it comes to raw, straight-line speed, Ferrari isn't exactly dragging an anchor. Still, they're missing the final pieces to keep pace with the frontrunners. Another major focus will be the floor, the heart and soul of a modern ground effect machine. Right now, the SF25's floor behaves more like a moody teenager than a tuned athlete, and that inconsistency is hurting their entire setup. The floor should be generating a consistent downforce across gear changes, but Ferrari's current version acts up too often, leaving drivers wrestling with unpredictability. That's a headache for anyone, but when you're chasing perfection like Lewis Hamilton, it becomes a migraine. Lewis himself admitted that the vertical force pressing the car down isn't enough, and without it, Ferrari can't keep up with McLaren and Red Bull. Charles Leclerc also made it crystal clear: if Ferrari matches the aerodynamic load of their rivals, the performance gap will start to disappear. In F1, it's not just about raw pace, it's about ironing out every bump and bruise holding the car back, And despite all the hurdles, the 2025 campaign is still wide open for anyone brave enough to fix their flaws. Ferrari's Bahrain spec floor showed flashes of brilliance, helping stabilize the ride, but it wasn't the game changer they hoped for, as the struggles in Jeddah proved. Even so, Charles highlighted one bright spot: tyre degradation. The SF25 can nurse its rubber better than most, a trick it inherited from its predecessor. But when it comes to flying laps, there's still work to do. Managing tyre temperatures over one hot qualifying lap could unlock even more speed. Starting at the sharp end is absolutely vital this year. With overtaking as tricky as threading a needle at 300 kilometers per hour, poor qualifying often spells disaster before the lights even go out. Ferrari knows they can't afford to be passengers on race day anymore. However, there's a twist in the tale. Rumor has it Ferrari might postpone rolling out all their upgrades until Spain. Why? Simple. They want more time to analyze them properly, and testing them under the new flexible wing directive could give them an edge when it matters most. Meanwhile, over in Woking, McLaren's Zak Brown isn't exactly sleeping soundly either. Last year in Miami, McLaren's upgrades catapulted them into title contention. Lando Norris grabbed his first win, and suddenly, McLaren wasn't just a dark horse, they were frontrunners. In 2025, they've already bagged 4 wins out of 5 races, but cracks are showing. Zak Brown isn't blind to the warning signs. After Jeddah, he admitted the gap to rivals is razor thin. No safety cars, no chaos, just pure racing. And the top teams finished within 9 seconds of each other. Brown knows, in F1, you're only one bad upgrade away from falling off the podium. One wrong move, and you're not leading, you're chasing. The warning lights are flashing because McLaren's supposed trump card, a new diffuser tested in Miami, never even made it to race day. Quietly shelved after free practice, it left many wondering if McLaren's development curve has hit a plateau, just as Ferrari and Red Bull are sharpening their knives. Jeddah and Suzuka were supposed to be McLaren's weak points, and yet Norris and Piastri kept swinging. But even then, it wasn't smooth sailing. George Russell nailed it. On strong tracks, McLaren can dominate. On tricky ones, they still scrap for pole. That's championship material, but it's not bulletproof. And when Lando Norris got caught behind a defensive Lewis Hamilton last race, it showed just how quickly small problems snowball into big ones. Traffic, strategy, qualifying, everything needs to be perfect now because the margins are tighter than a tyre blanket at -degrees. Oscar Piastri might have snatched the points lid after a stellar drive, but Red Bull and Ferrari are circling. Verstappen's penalty debate might have grabbed headlines, but underneath it all, McLaren's pace supremacy is wobbling. Imola and Spain are shaping up to be season-defining. If Ferrari's upgrades hit the mark and McLaren's stumbles continue, we could be staring at a championship battle that flips faster than a pit stop gone wrong. One thing's for sure, the road ahead is about to get bumpy, brilliant, and brutally competitive. So what do you think? Will Ferrari's upgrades finally give them the horsepower to challenge at the front? Drop your thoughts down below. Until next time, goodbye for now.